What's up, guys? It's me, JellyKnees. And I realized that I start every video this same way, and it's very strange to me how that started. But whatever, not the point. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to get you subscribed and talk about what I think the layout of teams will be and kind of team composition in Ethereal. So I bring you guys back to the map image that we got for the map teaser or map blog post. So if we look at this, we have the fire lane with the fire wyvern, ice lane, ice wyvern, and then void lane with Atropos in this cave down here on the bottom right side. And we see how they're stacked. So for the purpose of today's video, we're going to consider the fire lane, the duo lane, and let me tell you why. So the fire lane, I believe, is going to be the duo lane for a handful of reasons. One thing, it's closer to the mid lane. So, or to the void lane, sorry. If I had to jump down, let's say the enemy team's doing Atropos, jumping off of this may take significantly more time than jumping off of the fire lane toward the void lane. The other thing is, typically in MOBAs, you see the duo lane be the opposite side of the primary objective, neutral objective. So Atropos being on the right side makes me believe fire lane is most likely going to be the duo lane, and that the obelisk will act as our, for league people, our dragon that we go to. That the wyverns are also there, but because there's two, slightly less so, but the obelisk will be the main side objective that the duo lane will want to be close to or have easy access to. So with that in mind, let me show you guys how things are kind of broken down. We have the fire lane. This map here is not indicative of anything. It's purely a map that I made. I actually took a screenshot of the Extra Life minimap and just kind of colored it to make this. So this means absolutely nothing. This is not the minimap. This is not a reveal of anything. Please don't think it is. But this is what the fire lane is going to look like for today. The ice lane and the void lane. They're just respective colors. Literally, that's all they are. Please don't read into it at all. I made these in Photoshop in half an hour. So the first kind of composition that I think is possible and fairly likely potentially is the 2-1-2, or sorry, the 1-1-2-2. So this would be one person ice lane, which I consider being the off lane, one person void lane, and two people in the fire lane, as well as two junglers. The way that I kind of see this is that this is going to be your most well-rounded kind of composition, and also most effective way to get the junglers to really change the course of the game. For instance, if we take the two junglers and bring them over to the ice lane, we turn that lane effectively into a 3v1 instead of just a 2v1, which means basically if you don't get the kill on a 3v1, you royally messed something up. You really should be securing kills 9 times out of 10 if they step out of line when you're going a 3v1 in a lane where somebody doesn't know you're going to be coming. So, but having two junglers being able to roam around is just going to help them keep pressure on the entire map as a whole, where you can have one jungler go to the ice lane and one jungler go to the void lane, right? And it's not safe just because the jungler is ganking somewhere else, because there could be a second one. So I think this is a very likely layout that we're going to see in Ethereal, because it's going to have 6v6. And I actually love this layout, but I'm a jungler, so having two positions for the jungle so I don't have to worry about getting my role makes me feel even better. So the next one we want to look at is the 1-1-3-1. Potentially a thing. I don't believe so. But so again, one in the ice lane, one void lane, 3 in the fire lane, and then one jungler. The fire lane having 3 people could be really interesting in that this might be what people almost default to when the game comes out before we develop our own sense of meta for what the lanes should look like. Because you could easily stick an extra support or carry in that lane, and instead of a duo lane, it becomes a trio lane. And if the supports are built that way, might be able to help support 2 carries at one go, or you have 2 supports in some way helping the carry take over that lane. Could be very interesting. it's likely, it, like I said, might be the default when the game comes out, but I really don't see this being a long-term solution for the game. The main thing here is that because they will have the extra body in the fire lane, if you get the jungler and the void laner to come over to Fire Wyvern or Obelisk, you'll have 5 people there relatively easily because you'll be able to pull 3 people from the duo lane towards those objectives. So that's a good number of your team for relatively smaller neutral objectives. So this could entirely be possible. Next up, we have the 1-2-2-1. So 1 ice lane, 2 void lane, 2 fire, and 1 jungler. The reason I think that there's a potential for this to exist and be a thing in Ethereal is that you now have, with archmages involved, if you have your archmage in the mid lane, you're going to let them use their portals to roam to the fire lane or ice lane, but at the same time have the void lane covered, that they'll constantly have a second body holding that lane instead of letting the enemy laner push it in. So they'll basically act as like a half jungler, half void laner at the same time, using those portals to get quick rotations. And if you are on comms with your team and can coordinate with your jungler, you can turn any of these lanes into either like a 4v2 or a 3v1 while still having mid lane covered at the same time. Very, very, I think, high potential for this to be a thing. And the objective pressure that you could have with this is insane because, like I said, you can kind of very quickly transition people from one place to another. And if you're coordinating with your jungler, have a very, very high likelihood that this pays off in some big way. The other thing you could do is a 2-1-2-1. And guys, there are way more options than just what I came up with here. I just think that these are probably the most likely in a lot of cases. So 2-1-2-1 basically creates a double duo lane. You'll have, I mean, I don't even pretend to know. Maybe it's a marksman and berserker in the ice lane and a marksman cleric in the fire lane, and whatever you want in the void lane with whatever you want as a jungler. This to me could have some really high potential in that now both lanes that have wyverns have 2 bodies there. There's always going to be some decent amount of pressure on that objective. And with the jungler involved, you can make that 3 people at the objective practically instantly because it's on the lane. There's not going to be much travel time involved for any of those people. So I think that there's a likelihood that this might be also the default that we go to. Instead of the 1-1-3-1, we could go to this 2-1-2-1 while people are getting used to it. But the real thing here is that no matter what, you could have really, really strong objective pressure. If you have an archmage in the void lane, they can easily transition and turn a lane into, with the jungler, a 4v2 on either side. Or you have everybody very quickly accessible to the mid area that they can all meet there for Obelisk or a Tropos, whichever is going to be most beneficial for your team. So I think it'd be very interesting to see the layouts that we get having 6 players in the game. We're not going to just have the traditional MOBA layouts that we're so used to. The other thing that I want to mention is that I still believe that there are more camps than one jungler can handle. I think we're going to see 18 camps per side. In the blog post talking about the map, it wasn't specific about whether it was total on the map or per side. And the only reason I can think of is that it's per side, but they just didn't quite want to reveal that yet. So I'm really thinking that the jungler can't handle 18 camps and ganking at the same time. So maybe tying into yesterday's video, maybe some of the camps are active during the day and some are active during the night. And then that's how the jungler is able to manage. Or having 2 junglers will help them manage. Whatever it's going to be, it'll be very interesting to see how they're able to handle that many camps and figure it out. And I, as a jungler, am excited to get my hands on it and learn the pathings and learn how to gank from certain lanes and all of those things. But guys, that's going to call it for this video. I want to hear what you guys think. What are the lane structures that you're expecting? Who are you expecting in which lanes? Is there something that you think I didn't consider or that makes one of these better than the others? I mean, when we look at this map, like I said, there's so much real estate for camps that it's got to be 18 camps per side, unless these are much smaller than we're considering. But I highly doubt it. But guys, that's going to call it for this video. Please make sure you hit subscribe and the like button. Leave a comment down below. Like I said, if you want to see a recommended playlist of all the Ethereal content that I've made so far, click right over here. If you want to see a video just for you, click on the other side. When you see my icon, hit it, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.